Season 3!
Invincible Season 3! That's the intro. Welcome back to Comic Conquest. We're Invincible Season 3 kicked ass, and now we're going to talk about it. What's new, what's different, what's all about it. Cole, what do we think overall? How's the season going? Yeah, alright. So we're going to do a slightly modified version of the burp, breakdown, review, predictions. So yeah, let's start it off with the breakdown.
You just talk about some of our favorite moments from this season, August. What do you like the most?
I loved it when Business Baby kicked ass. I think that was great. Hello, hi, come. I just went out of okay. No, but for real, I think there were honestly some great changes made this season. I think a lot of it, especially with Eve, I definitely think that character went through a big change, especially from the comics to this. One of my favorite moments. Oh, massive spoilers, by the way, for everything. Just FYI. Do you have a moment off the top of your head? Because I'm sure.
Well, the thing I was going to talk about that I was most excited to see, and we've talked about a little bit, August, is I really love that arc of Omni-Man and Alan in prison.
Yeah.
And it was good. Don't get me wrong. I just felt like it had more aura in the comics, but maybe I'm wrong, August. Maybe I'm wrong. I think, as everyone could have seen in the episodes and the differences, a big part of the budget was in the back half.
Oh
of the
yeah,
season.
It was for sure in those last two.
Yeah.
But yeah, I loved everybody kind of coping for a while, being like, no, they're saving it for Invincible War. They're saving, and they were right. They popped off. There's one scene, or there's one shot in the last episode. This is totally so unrelated to anything, but there's one scene in the last episode where Mark's struggling to get up. And I'm like, whoa, this has way more frames than anything else. He's and he's falling, he's crawling and shit. I'm like, what the fuck? Anyway,
there've been all those memes of
the PNGs,
PNGs dragging across the screen. That was not in this last episode.
No,
everything felt really sick and smooth.
Fantastic. Favorite moment though, I gotta say, honestly, Invincible War, fantastic episode. The shit with Rex, I think that was my favorite.
With the Billie Eilish.
Like a light. Song choice is not as good as last season's. I'm gonna be honest.
To be honest, it threw me off so much that I giggled a little bit. I was like, it's such an intense moment, and then it's just, I understand Rex is dead. Yeah. Also, I don't remember the comics, but I thought I wanted a little reward, to see fucking the dead Mark's body or something.
Yeah.
Besides just the silhouette of fucking Rex's.
Yeah, I feel like in the comics you do see in Evil Invincible he's all charred up and shit. But no, there were definitely when Mark and Eve finally start going on a date and they started playing music, I was listening, I was like, is that fucking Joji? Yes, it was. And I was like, what the hell? No, but honestly, some of the greatest moments of the show so far have been in this season. I think 1 and 3, top quality show. I feel like 2 is just, it's good, but
I mean, I'm an Omni-Man stan, so 1's just always going to be my favorite. We got some great Omni-Man stuff, but the Conquest thing was crazy.
Oh my god.
It was a bold choice. I guess this is what the season 1 finale was, and there's a lot of mirroring in that, obviously, but it was just 40 minutes of fucking brute violence. Yeah. I mean, dude, this, and I guess this is kind of the shtick of the show, which honestly isn't my favorite thing, but they do it so fucking realistic and crazy. The pure gore in this episode, and all of them really, they've really been leveling up. And this is gonna sound so crazy to say, the frames on blood splatters. I'm like, why is it splattering so smooth everywhere? It's freaking me out a little bit. And then there's a moment in this episode particularly when he breaks his gauntlet.
Oh, dude, I felt it. Oh my god.
Oh, I mean, I guess that means they're doing their job, right?
Yeah.
That means it's working.
Yeah, no, 100%.
But sometimes I'm like, Jesus.
Yeah.
When Eve's falling out of the sky and her fucking entrails are I was like, oh my god, I don't need 5 seconds of this.
100%. They've they saw that everybody loves the boys and how much shit they get away with. They said, "Watch this, we're gonna animate it." And you know what? They damn did.
Another brutal one too is when Conquest is running him through the fucking city.
Oh my god!
And then there's this poor kid.
The kid whose arm just...
Bro, I was like, they've like so many extra frames. I was like, oh my god. Yeah, it's fucking brutal. But it all builds on to this theme of, you know, the destruction that Mark causes, and ultimately his resolve at the end of this, you know, the last scene that we see of him is,
I'm gonna kill people. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna kill people. Speaking of Mark's destruction, the Powerplex, I think that is one of my favorite episodes because you see, sometimes I wish I didn't read the comics, sometimes I'm glad I did, but that episode is so good because you see, like, you can't keep getting away with it.
Getting away with that.
And they handle it so perfectly where, like, this guy's driven insane by Mark's actions and trying to do good to the point where, and I was really curious if they were gonna have him kill his, like, the baby. I was really, and he did. He fucking fries that thing.
Bro, when they showed the charred fucking skeleton, it is so high definition. I'm like, oh my god, maybe you have a little worse animation quality for this, bro. I don't need the fucking like smoldering ash coming off this poor child.
No, same thing with like you were saying, just they decided they stopped hiding behind stuff because last season when Angstrom gets his head bashed in, you never actually see it, which is the same thing in the comics. Like, you don't see it until the flashback, where it's almost like in both the show and in the comic they got like approval to just start doing crazy shit because, like, you see Conquest's head bashed in, you see so
I watched this with people that haven't read the comic, and me and August both have watched this, and sometimes I just know what's gonna happen, so it doesn't hit me as hard. But when Adam Eve showed up, I watched this with like 3 or 4 people. When Adam Eve shows up, they're like, well, she's gonna die. And I was like, and of course, she actually puts up a crazy fight. And they're like, oh my god, wait, she's actually whooping some ass. And then he comes out like completely unscathed.
Yeah, she popped off.
On some like Dragon Ball shit, like the fucking smoke clears and he's just like
stands up.
And then he guts her. And they were like, no fucking way. What the fuck? Sorry for cursing. No way. Wow. That was so amazing.
Cursing doesn't make you cool.
Yeah. Let's get into the review, August. And I think we've been talking about it, but like,
have we glazed it
how
enough?
Are we feeling about what?
Have we glazed it enough?
No, obviously not.
Never. How are we feeling? I'm feeling good. I think this is a great positive step. I miss Nolan. I miss his Omni-Man shenanigans. I know he's coming up a lot more real soon. Oliver, I think they did a fantastic job. Honestly, a lot of these characters, they gave a lot more depth. Keeping Ray alive, shrinking Ray alive was a great thing for Rex. Really humanized him. Like I said this before, Adam Eve, fantastic like modernization of her, and changing that storyline around just a bit, like her going into an architecture like program. That makes sense. After seeing like things didn't work out, she goes and tries to like improve and stuff. I just think this season really changed a lot while keeping things like to the point and like still keeping the core aspects of the story. I just think this is fantastic adaptation.
Yeah, they tweak just enough, right? Where it follows it so to the T, where I was like, after the Invincible episode, I was like, well, Conquest is going to show up. But I was like, how do they fit this giant, like, how do you fit this back to back like this?
Yeah.
And they do it well. They do it well, right? Like, I think it's so much action. I think it's a little, like, jarring back to back, but I think that's the point, right? You're like, what the, like, how is this still happening?
It's tragedy after tragedy.
Yeah. And it really keeps playing, as I'll say again, like, into this whole ending with Mark going, I'm killing people now.
That's it. I'm killing. Yeah, I'm very interested to see what's coming up. No hints towards Dinosaurus. But cut that out. That's for predictions. I didn't say that. Review. It's good. Go watch it if you haven't.
Yeah.
It's a fantastic series, and I really do hope that they get to really tell and adapt the story, because they've been handling things really well. Just kind of like the Last of Us TV show, where they're taking the core aspects and all the main points that you want and you love, and just adding just a couple things to add just depth to characters that maybe you didn't care about, or maybe were not touched on as much as they should have.
Well, we'll go to prediction. I think you summed it up great, August. The number one thing I just want to go into, because of course we've read the book.
Yeah.
He seems like he might be called to hell, which never happened in the book, obviously.
Yeah, so funny enough, I was just thinking about Dark Blood off, like, just for no reason before this episode came out. I was like, why? What was the point of this character? He did like nothing, and then I see him show up here. I was like, are we gonna give him something to do? And it sounds like it. I don't know if they're talking about Mark, or they're talking about Oliver, or like there's so many characters that they could be referring to. I actually think
they're referring to something different, like some new. I think it might be an original like character, like, because he says like hasn't been seen in eons. I think they're gonna be summoning Satan or something, and I think Mark's just gonna go and fight Satan. Like, I think it's gonna be plainly that simple, and that'll be like the opening to season 4 or whatever.
Oh, that'd be interesting.
But August, of course, also mentioned Dinosaurus. I don't know.
I didn't mention that. Never happened.
I was really expecting a Dinosaurus teaser at the end of this, instead of this what is his name, Darkblood? Darkblood teaser. I was like, the Darkblood thing really threw me off.
For real. Yeah, so Dinosaurus is a major character, especially in probably the next one or two season, depending on.
You probably should mention, like, we'll say Dinosaurus, but I don't want to go too much into that story.
No, I'm not gonna say anything about the story.
Okay.
Just like more like, I'm curious how they might introduce him next season, but keep. I forget exactly how much is in between him becoming like an actual mainstay or not.
Yeah.
But yeah, we got the Sequid stuff, which will be super interesting too. That'll be a big character. I think a lot of this, especially the front half of the season, a lot of people were saying like, hey, this is just filler episodes, like, get this shit out of here. And I think you missed the point, which was starting to show Mark like doubting himself and his morals. They did take out one of the lines when right after Oliver kills the Mauler brothers. Oliver's like, don't you ever think that Dad was right? And they took out the line where Mark says sometimes. So I think that's an interesting development. It's kind of is furthering that idea that sometimes he does kind of think that his dad was right.
Yeah, they play so well into that this season. When you say filler episodes, there are no filler episodes,
No.
right? Like, everything plays in this overarching story of Mark's morality this season. When people are like, filler episode, I'm like, yes, I understand it's not the overarching like Viltrumite story.
Yeah.
But this world is so massive, and they remind you of that every like season ending when they show all this shit going on in the background. You're like, oh, I forgot about this, so I forgot about that. Like, you kind of lose track when it's all about, big strong guy beat up other big strong guy. Even like, I was really excited to see Battle Beast get picked up.
Yeah,
it's like one of my favorite characters too. And of course he goes on a whole another story that we won't dive into, but I think they'll probably start that next season.
Definitely. And like you said, I love how big this world feels. Like the little moments, like with the mummy guy showing back up, like that makes it just feel like this world has lore and like way more substance to it, and all the other heroes showing up. We've got like Tech Jacket and Brit showing up, crazy. I don't know why they hesitated so much on Brit. It's not like I don't know his story at all. I don't, but he's big. I know Tech is huge because they actually use him. But yeah, it's just cool to feel like there's more to the world.
The one character that I'm sure there might be, a handful of fans that were upset not to see August is in Invincible, where there's one panel of a guy named Spawn. And he was not in this.
No.
When I think Invincible War, and this is crazy because it's Invincible's comic book, but I was like, I hope we see Spawn this episode. I was like, oh my god, I can't wait to see Spawn strangle Viltrumite Mark.
For 5 seconds.
For literally less than that, probably. And they replaced him with, like, Wolfman or something.
Yeah, Wolfman, who does have a Invincible arc or something.
Which makes sense, right? But,
yeah.
it would have been cool.
Honestly, great stuff. I think that's our review. It's really good. It expands good. No, we're in predictions.
We're in predictions. This is all a mess, really. We're just stupid. We're just talking now.
Yeah.
We just gave it D1 glazing. I can't really say much more about it.
Any other predictions? I'm trying to think.
It's hard to like say something without.
It's hard to predict without being like, well, I think Thrag's gonna show up. Whoa! Jonathan Banks. I'm kind of sad he wasn't Conquest, but it was.
I mean, they gave, for all the Walking Dead fans, they gave Glenn his lick back.
Yeah, I was gonna say at least Glenn got a 1v1.
At least Glenn got the 1v1 back. And this time he bashed his shoulder.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, like, comment, subscribe. We'll see you in the next video. Bye.